Hello everyone, Jules here. Today I'd like to talk about a tarot deck and show a tarot deck that was published towards the end of last year. That is the Splendor Solis Tarot, and the subtitle is Inner Alchemies of Mithraic Light. So here is the box, and it's an interesting deck. I wanted to get this deck because I have an interest in alchemy, and I have made some videos about alchemy. And this deck also is in conjunction with Kabbalah, because the Tree of Life is used with the Minor Arcana cards. So because my path is Kabbalah, that was another reason why I wanted to get this deck. So here is the box, and the sun symbol on the cover of the box is also on the back of the cards. And this is a hard cardboard box. And this is by Angelo, who wrote the guidebook. And here is the guidebook. And there are a number of points that I want to make about the guidebook after I show some of the cards. I personally will not be using the guidebook, and I will mention a number of points of what I do not like about the guidebook. So I will explain that after I show some of the cards. So here is the guidebook, which is written by Angelo. Now, with the cards, I'm going to show the Major Arcana cards to start with, the ones that I particularly like. I always do my reviews in that way. And I'm going to start off by saying that the Major Arcana cards are showing symbols from the Splendor Solis manuscript. I'll just talk a little bit more in a moment about what the Splendor Solis actually is. So here's the back of the cards with the sun emblem. I actually prefer the deck more than the guidebook, and I'm going to explain why. The cards I like as far as the quality. It has a matte finish, and it has this beautiful, smooth, almost faux leather texture. I really like that. And the gilding, the orange, the gold gilding, I like the way the gilding is done. It's not shiny, it's not too shiny. It's got more of a brass effect than the sort of gold gilt edge that you normally see. So I quite like, it's almost got a brass type of brass look colour. So those parts of the deck I like. So I'm quite happy with the quality of the deck, and the quality of the cards is quite good too. So I like that. And I'm going to show some of the Major Arcana cards in a moment, and then I'll show the Minor Arcana and the Court cards. And I've got quite a bit to say about the structure of the deck and how this deck is actually done. I'm just making a little bit of a sort out here to how I'm going to approach this. Now, just before we get started looking at the cards for the Major Arcana, I just want to make a point to start with about the Splendor Solis itself. The Splendor Solis is based on an alchemical manuscript that was written in 1582 during the Renaissance period. And the Splendor Solis alchemical manuscript is quite well known and quite well regarded by scholars of alchemy, and it has been attributed to Solomon Trismosin, and it is not known for sure whether Solomon Trismosin actually did create the manuscript, but it is suspected that he did. So that's the background of the Splendor Solis, and I've been interested in the Splendor Solis manuscript for quite a while. So that's another reason why I wanted to get the deck. I'm just reading my notes here. The author, Marie Angelo, is actually, her field is transpersonal arts. So that is her field, and she's obviously interested in this from a transpersonal art and alchemy perspective. But I will go into this a little bit more about this. This ties in with why I'm not happy about the book, because the esoteric research is hypothetical, and it's not, for me, it's not substantiated enough. But I will go into that a bit more later. Now, just mentioning the whole idea of the Splendor Solis manuscript in regard to tarot and or Kabbalah. Samuel Mathers of the Golden Dawn apparently did write a small book of commentary on the Splendor Solis manuscript, but it cannot be found. It was known to exist, but it was never published, and it must have been just a small copy that he had, and apparently he loaned that one copy to one of his friends, and it looks like it has never been found. So Samuel Mathers of the Golden Dawn did consider that the 22 coloured plates or pictures from the Splendor Solis manuscript may have been related in some way to the 22 major arcana. But it was just a hypothetical theory of his. And at the time, the Golden Dawn, and particularly Samuel Mathers, was interested in anything that had the number 22, because the number 22 was all about the Hebrew letters and the 22 paths and the 22 major arcana. So it was a hypothetical theory of his. So this is some of the basis for trying to associate the Splendor Solis manuscript with the tarot. And the deck itself is a hybrid, and by that I mean it's a combination of things, and I'm not a fan of hybrids anyway, but because I like the two separate systems of alchemy and Kabbalah, that's another reason why I wanted to get the deck. But what I don't like is also is the fact that there is not only a tie-in with trying to combine alchemy with Kabbalah. There is also the subject of Mithraism or Mithraism, which is a mystery, which was a mystery school, and that's why this deck has the subtitle as well, Inner Alchemies of Mithraic Light. So, Mithra, the Mithraism is mentioned straight away in the subtitle. So, where you're trying to say that there is a direct, the whole idea of this deck is saying that there is a direct relationship with alchemy and Kabbalah, and also Mithraism. Even Masonry as well is mentioned in the guidebook. I mean, these are these just are hypothetical ideas, and there is no direct correlation, but as I said, I'll go further into the book. But it is a hybrid deck in many ways. And I suppose the other thing about Mithraism as well is that people need to be aware is that as a mystery school, Mithraism was a mystery school during the ancient Roman times, but it predates that. It was actually a Persian philosophy. And the Persian form of Mithraism is quite different to the Roman form of Mithraism. And what I also don't like about the guidebook is that there is the two forms of Mithraism are combined. There is an attempt to combine those ideas as well, and that is not accurate. Okay, I better start showing some cards before I get into the guidebook. Now, the other thing about, I'm going to show the major arcana first. Now, the thing with the major arcana, of course, you've got the 22 colour plates from the Splendor Solis manuscript. I'm going to show the cards that seem to work, that seem to fit in with the tarot major arcana. So the ones that I'm showing are the ones that seem to work. The ones that I am not showing are the ones that I can't see any correlation at all, really. So here is the magician in this deck is called the Alchemist. Now I think this one probably works the best. So this is number one, the Alchemist. So the Splendor Solis manuscript has got a beautiful image, colour image, and then it has what people would think to be borders, but they're not really borders because these are illustrated with symbols, and it's a bit like it's an alchemical manuscript. It's a bit like the Book of Kells that was sort of done in the medieval times. So this is the Alchemist for the Magician, and it's called Alchemy of the Magician. And the cardstock's quite good, not sure whether I mentioned that. Now this is Alchemy of the Empress, but it's called the Royal Pair. And I think a lot of people would recognise this or think of this more as the Lover's card. So anyway, this is the Empress card. So as in with alchemy, you have the Sun King and the Lunar Queen here. This is for the Empress. And these are all the colour plates from the Splendor Solis manuscript. The Royal Pair, this is Alchemy of the Empress. These are Roman numerals at the top of the card. Now, Alchemy of the Hierophant, and this is the Great Tree, number 5. So I think this kind of works because, this is, Kabbalah and the Tree of Life is a philosophy, and that ties in with the Hierophant, a teaching. And there's a very, very Jesus-like figure here. And the Renaissance period was very influenced by Christianity, of course, by the Catholic Church. So the Great Tree is number 5 for the Hierophant, Alchemy of the Hierophant. Now this is where I'm stretching things a bit. These are the ones that I'm trying, that I think resemble the major arcana a bit. Alchemy of Strength, 8 is alchemy, 8 is strength, sorry, number 8 is strength. And this is the Rebus from Alchemy, which is the two-headed kind of androgenic figure, androgen. This is the rebus for strength, number 8, and it says Alchemy of Strength. Now that's the other thing I'm not happy about with the guidebook. The guidebook does not really explain the images, which would be really helpful and useful, but it doesn't. Not really. It talks more about Kabbalah. Well, anyway, I'll go into that later. This is the rebus for the strength, card number 8. Alchemy of Strength. Now, Alchemy of the Wheel of Fortune. This is the philosopher. Now, this I don't think that really ties in with the Wheel of Fortune. I mean, the only stretch that I could make here is, you know, this Christ-like figure again in a round vessel. You know, round as in wheel, but even then, I'm stretching my imagination. So number 10 is called the philosopher for the Wheel of Fortune. A lot of the cards, the rest of the cards, because it is the Splendor Solis manuscript, a lot of the other cards have got creatures, alchemical creatures in symbols in vessels for alchemy. So this is Alchemy of Justice, and it's called Young Dragon. So it's like a baby figure, type figure with the dragon here. So this is for justice. Alchemy of Justice, Young Dragon. I quite like this one. This is the Alchemy of Death, card number 13, and it's white, the white bird. So I quite like this one. And Alchemy of the Moon. This is Eclipse. And Alchemy of the Sun, which is Child's Play. And Alchemy of the World, which is this is the World card, and this is Mithralia. Now, the concept of Mithralia is supposed to be the union of above and below. Apparently that comes from Mithraism too. So there's Hermetic thought in here, but it's combined with Mithraism, so it's... I really don't like the idea of alchemy combined with Mithraism. But anyway, that is what this deck is about. It's a hybrid. So that's Alchemy of the World. All right, now they are the major arcana cards that basically bear resemblance to the major arcana of the tarot. And as I said, the guidebook does not really explain the images and how it relates to tarot. So Now on to the minor arcana. And the minor arcana was another reason why I got this deck. I mean, I'm interested in alchemy for the major arcana, and the minor arcana is based on the Tree of Life and Kabbalah. And what I like about this is, I think this is a really good way for learning the concept in Kabbalah about the four worlds. Now, if anyone had seen my Tower of the Spirit series, I think it is in the final video of that series, I talk about the concept of the four worlds, which means in Kabbalah there is a tree of life for each of the elements, and then but they are combined and seen as one tree, sort of like a nest of Russian dolls. And the image on the minor arcana cards that I'll show in a moment is based on the diagram in the middle of the card is based on what is called the lightning path, where these are all numbered from 1 to 10 with the spheres, and they all travel in the direction this way, going this way, in a zigzag line. That is called the lightning path and of Kabbalah, and that is the diagram in the middle of each of the four suits and the minor arcana numbered cards. Now, just to show you, for example, this is the first card. These are numbered 1 to 10 as usual in the minor arcana. So you have got the Tree of Life in the middle here. And of course, with the Splendor Solis manuscript, it has the 22 pictures of the major arcana. It does not have these. Okay, so this is an idea of the author to bring in Kabbalah with the Splendor Solis alchemical manuscript. So with each of the suits, they are called different, they're called by the elements. So this is red for fire, and this is called living fire. This is the living fire suit. But under here, for example, this is number 1, which is the ace, and under here it's got alchemy of the ace of wands. So these are all called, the usual wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. And for each of these cards from 1 to 10, the point of number 1 or 2 or anywhere from 1 to 10 are highlighted by a elemental triangle. So for example, this is the 1 of fire. So there is the triangle, upright triangle of the fire element here up at number 1 sphere. So this is a good way of learning each of the four worlds for each of the suits. And I'm going to show all of the cards in a moment for the fire suit. But just to quickly give you an idea of, for example, the other suits, because they're all the same but different elements. So the number 1, the ace, is called the point, and this is the cups. This is the ace of cups, the point of starry water. So you have starry water for the cup suits. So this time you have the down pointing symbol for the element of water up at the top here at number 1. And I have explained, and you have blue for water. I have explained in my Tarot of the Spirit series that the spheres of Kabbalah are numbered 1 to 10, but they don't have a connection with numerology in any way. They just happen to be numbered from 1 to 10, and they have Hebrew titles. They are numbered from 1 to 10 just for reference. And they have a relationship to sacred geometry, but they are not related, the numbers from 1 to 10 are not related to numerology. So this is the ace of starry water, the point number 1 is called the point. Starry water in the cups. Blue for water, yellow for air. This is called point of sparkling air. So this is the ace of air. And this is Alchimia, the Ace of Swords. Yellow for air. These are the traditional Golden Dawn colours. The ideas for these Kabbalah type cards, for the Minor Arcana cards, are directly taken from the Golden Dawn. So I wanted to mention that. There are at least 2 books that are referenced in the back of the guidebook that are Golden Dawn Kabbalah books. There's actually 3. There's 3. So this is definite. I mean, Hermetic Kabbalah is Golden Dawn based anyway. So this is point of sparkling air for the swords, Ace of Swords. And again, you've got the elemental air sign up here at number 1. And then you have green for the golden, point of golden earth, the Ace of Pentacles. So you have the downward pointing element symbol for earth, green for earth. So you have red fire, blue water, yellow air, green earth. These are the very traditional Hermetic Kabbalah elementary colours. So what I'm going to do, I just showed you the aces of the elements, and I'm just going to show you from 1 to 10 of the Minor Arcana cards so you get an idea. And the other thing about this for the Minor Arcana numbered cards being Kabbalah based, is that if anyone who wants to know more about Kabbalah, you are going to learn the correspondences from 1 to 10 for each of the spheres. So for example, we're just going to do the fire element. Here is the Ace of Fire, which is called the point of fire, living fire. Now I don't know whether you can see it, but for the spheres that would normally be numbered, there are planetary symbols. These are the Golden Dawn corresponding planets for each of the 10 spheres. And the ace at the top in Hermetic Kabbalah is related to the element itself. So this is the point of living fire. Now all of the number 2 in the deck is called the zodiac. So this is the zodiac of living fire, and this goes with the number 2 on the Kabbalah tree of life. So this time it's over on the number 2. Now I want to make a point here of saying with where it's saying zodiac, it doesn't mean the zodiac constellations that everybody knows. It actually means the fixed stars of the zodiac. For example, Antares is a fixed star in Scorpio. These are in regard to the fixed stars, not the whole, not the zodiac constellations that everybody knows, but the fixed stars that are present in the constellations. So instead of saying zodiac, it should be saying the fixed stars, but anyway. So number 2 is zodiac of living fire. So all of the elements would say zodiac of, the cups would be zodiac, number 2, zodiac of starry water. All of the number 2s say zodiac of, but it should be fixed stars. Number 3, this is Saturn of living fire. So now the elementary triangles moved over to number 3, and so forth. It goes all the way down to 10. So all the number 3s are Saturn. These are the planetary correspondences of the Golden Dawn to Kabbalah, the Kabbalah Tree of Life. So all the number 3s are going to be Saturn. Saturn of living fire. The next one, all of the 4s, Jupiter. Jupiter of living fire. So all of the 4s are going to be Jupiter of 4. And I just want to mention here too, with these planetary correspondences for the spheres, or the sephira as they're called, this is a reason why, the number one reason why, the astrological decans in regard to tarot do not work with Kabbalah. They work for tarot, but they don't work for Kabbalah. And that is because of these planetary, the planetary correspondences are only supposed to be for the spheres. And if you try to make sense of the astrological decans in regard to the minor cards of the tarot, doesn't fit with the Kabbalah philosophy and correspondence in practice. It doesn't work. And I have mentioned in other videos before, it is still a mystery why Samuel Mathers decided to add the astrological decans to the minor arcana cards, because there are planetary correspondences for the spheres, and the spheres are also used for the minor arcana in Hermetic Kabbalah, so it doesn't add up. So I just thought I'd mention that. Number 4, all the number 4s are Jupiter. So Jupiter of living fire. Number 5. 5 is Mars of living fire. So all of the 5s are Mars. So this, like I said, this is a good way of learning about the 4 worlds, the tree in each of the 4 elements of the 4 worlds, and also learning about the planetary attributions for the spheres of Kabbalah. 5, all the 5s are Mars. Mars of living fire, number 5. Number 6 is Sun of living fire. All the 6s are the Sun attribution. Number 6, Sun of living fire. Number 7 is Venus. All the 7s are Venus. Venus of living fire. Number 8 is Mercury. Mercury of living fire. So all the 8s are Mercury. Mercury of living fire. The 9s are the Moon. Moon of living fire. And the 10s are the Earth. Planet Earth. Planet Earth of living fire. So you've gone from all the way from 1 all the way down to 10 now. Earth of living fire. Number 10, all of the 10s are planet Earth. Okay, so they are the minors, the minor arcana. Now for the court cards, and the court cards are a bit unusual. That's how this deck is. Okay, now the minor arcana, the court cards have similar names. What is the? I better put these in the correct order. Okay, King, Queen, Knight, and Page. I'm just going to show you the fire again, the fire element, because all of the court cards are going to have the same names but in different elements. So this is the Priest King of living fire. So this is the Alchemy of the King of Wands. So there's a correlated with King of Wands down here. This is the priest king of living fire. So you know it's a fire element, and it's called the priestly king. Priest king. Priest king. Priest king. Priestess queen of living fire is the Queen of Wands. So you have the priest king and the priestess queen of the elements. They're all going to be called these titles. And it will have the usual tarot name at the bottom here. So that's the priestess queen of living fire, alchemy of the Queen of Wands. Then you get to the knight, and it's called the priest royal. So you have the priest king, and then you have the priest royal for the knight. Priest royal of living fire, and it mentions Knight of Wands down here. Then you have priestess royal. Instead of the queen priestess, you have priestess royal for the Page of Wands. So fortunately you have the usual name down here. Yeah, so the court cards have similar names. Priest king, priestess queen, priest royal, and priestess royal. For king, queen, knight, and page. Now, to make some more points, I want to make a number of points about the book and why I won't be using the book. This is a hypothetical hybrid theory of the whole deck. As I was saying before, it combines alchemy, Kabbalah, Mithraism, and Masonry all together. That's what the guidebook is like. And it also has some pages in here where it does equate this with the, for example, with the major arcana with the usual Waite-Smith deck. So you've got, you know, photographs here, pictures here of the major arcana cards alongside the Waite-Smith deck. And that in itself, you know, I won't be, that's why another reason why I won't be using this book, because as far as Kabbalah is concerned, the Waite-Smith deck is not used in Hermetic Kabbalah, because the Golden Dawn always worked with Marseille type plain pip decks, and that is why the Thoth deck is a plain pip non-scenic deck, because they are Kabbalah decks that the Golden Dawn use and did use, and the later orders that exist now use plain pip decks. And there's a page in here too about the so-called the Mithraic, you know, the grades of Mithraism. And at the end of the book it shows the planets in regard to the grades of Mithraism. But these are not in the same order of Kabbalah. They're not in the same order. They're in a different order. I mean, there is a hypothetical theory that just because the traditional planets were used as grades in Mithraism, and I mean the Roman Mithraism, that there is a direct correlation with the planets, the planet attributions of Kabbalah, and the planetary ladder that was sometimes used with alchemy. It does not mean that there is a direct correlation about all this. And even where this is the page about the court cards. You know, it mentions the 4 worlds for each of the elements, but then it starts bringing in a lot of, you know, Hermetic astrology and theosophy. You know, like it's mentioning the planet Vulcan and things like that. You know, these things, you know, are not used in Kabbalah. And same thing again. This is to do with the cards numbered from 1 to 10, and it brings in it brings in things that are mainly from theosophy, and that things and Mithraism, and it has nothing to do with Hermetic Kabbalah. So what I'm mainly saying here is that this is all a hybrid through and through. And if anybody wants to learn about Hermetic Kabbalah, and if you only had this deck and this book, this guidebook, you were going to think that all of these ideas are Hermetic Kabbalah, and they're not. It's going to, you will be reading this and thinking that these, that is what this is, and it isn't. This early in the book, this is the lightning path, and this is, the planetary attributes of Hermetic Kabbalah. It starts off stating these kinds of things, and then it goes off, into the Mithraism and Hermetic astrology, which is a different branch of astrology, and theosophy is thrown in, and then you get to the Mithraic grades that I showed, and then you've got the tracing boards of masonry at the back of the book as well. Again, people might be thinking, oh gee, this ties in with tarot and Kabbalah, and it doesn't directly correspond. It doesn't directly relate. This is all a hypothetical theory. Okay, I think I've mentioned most of my points. I'll just go back over some of these things. The major arcana cards are called the artisans. The court cards are called awakeners. The numbered cards, the numbered suit cards are called ambassadors. Now, there's another page in here about the 4 elements, and this is also not what the Golden Dawn did with Kabbalah either. It's in the book, it mentions the 4 elements and tying them in with the Celtic fire festivals, with the pagan festivals of the year. That is not what Hermetic Kabbalah and the Golden Dawn is about. The Golden Dawn with Hermetic Kabbalah equated these seasons with the sun festivals, which are the solstices and equinoxes. So that is not correct either. Just finding this page for you. Here it is. There's this page here talking about the 4 seasons, and these are the sun festivals, the equinoxes and solstices here. But then there's this, the cross quarters. The cross quarters are brought in, and they, equated directly with Kabbalah and tarot, and that's not what the Hermetic Kabbalah with Golden Dawn is about. Now, there is a hardcover book that is available about the Splendor Solis manuscript. It's published by Watkins, and if anybody wants to know about the Splendor Solis manuscript and the beautiful colour plates that are actually the major arcana of this deck, if you get that book is going to inform you more, better about what the Splendor Solis manuscript actually is, the historical background about the deck. This book there's a hardcover book from Watkins that I just mentioned, is edited, and the introduction is written by Stephen Skinner, and Stephen Skinner is a very well-respected esoteric scholar. And in his introduction to the book, the hardcover book, he actually says that there is no relationship of the Splendor Solis manuscript. There is no direct relationship of the Splendor Solis manuscript of alchemy in regard to tarot nor Kabbalah. And if Stephen Skinner as a long-term esoteric scholar, of high regard, and he has been studying and researching this from a historical and philosophical perspective for many, many years. If he is saying that, and I have read so many esoteric classics myself over the last 25 years, I also recognised immediately that this was a hybrid, and it is very hypothetical. It is not substantiated. If you don't want to take the word of a well-respected, very highly regarded esoteric scholar of the standing of Stephen Skinner, well, that's up to you. Oh, that's right. There's yet another theme that's thrown into this deck. This guidebook is tied in with the narration, the narrative of a character from a Shakespearean play. The Shakespearean play called The Tempest had a character in that play. The heroine was called Miranda. She was a child in that play, and then she grew up to the age of about 15. Miranda is the imaginary narrator of this guidebook, and the ideas are supposed to be from the alchemical journal of Miranda from The Tempest, and the letters from Miranda to her father, Prospero. So there's yet another thing that's thrown in here with all of the other themes that are going on in the guidebook. So I thought I'd better mention that, because that's there as well. So don't think that Miranda was someone who, this is an imaginary figure anyway, so don't think that this Miranda from the Renaissance time actually had an alchemical journal and wrote letters to her father in this way, talking about alchemy and Mithraism, and so I just thought I'd better mention that. Okay, I'm just going over my points. I know this is a really long video. I apologise for that. If anybody, I hope people are interested in my views about this, but I had to lay all this out for you. I think I've covered most of what I want to say here. I think I have covered basically everything that I want to say. That's why this video is so long. Pretty sure I've covered everything. Just reading my notes. And the other thing that's really good with the hardcover book is Stephen Skinner, who mentioned the fact that this Splendor Solis manuscript bears no relationship to tarot nor Kabbalah. He actually explains the meanings, the alchemical meanings of the beautiful colour plate pictures in the book too. Okay, well, it looks like I've covered everything that I wanted to say. So thank you for bearing with me in this rather detailed video about the Splendor Solis Tarot by Angelo. And as I said, there's the backs of the cards. The cards themselves I really like. I'll probably be using the deck. I will be using the deck. I mean, I like the Minor Arcana for the Kabbalah part the most. The court cards, are sort of okay, and I like the Major Arcana for the colour plates from the alchemical manuscript, but the ones that I did not show, I think a lot of people will have quite a bit of trouble trying to tie this in with the Major Arcana of the tarot. Okay, that's everything for now, and thank you for watching, and I'll put some details below the video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.